Good morning, students. So, in today's class, we shall discuss about the transformer coupled amplifier and a Darlington pair. Okay. Now, yesterday we were discussing about this transformer coupled amplifier. Now, if we talk about the RC coupled amplifier, the difference in the circuit construction is that here the diagram what you see is the RC coupled amplifier. So here you see the resistors are connected. Fine. And why it is referred to as RC? The name RC is coined from these two components, the resistor and this capacitor. So this forms as a bridge between the two amplifiers, fine, and hence it is referred as RC network. Now you see here, typically this value of R is of order 4.7 kilo ohms or 5.1 kilo ohms, fine, and here the transistor, this base emitter is forward biased. So whenever we have a base emitter which is forward biased, that means the resistance offered is less. A basic concept. See, when the device is forward biased, the resistance offered is less, and when the device is reverse biased, the current does not flow through it. Why? Because the resistance offered is high. Now, when I connect the two stages, okay, this is the stage one, and here this is the stage two. Now this has got a resistance of the order 4.7k, and here, since base emitter has to be forward biased, the resistance offered by this section is very less. Okay, so in case of this multi-stage amplifiers, fine. So in case of this multi-stage amplifiers, fine. Uh, the low input impedance of subsequent meaning the next stage, okay, and it is offering low resistance. Why it is offering low resistance? The simple reason is we always take this base emitter as forward bias. Forward bias meaning it has to conduct easily, and when it will conduct easily only when the resistance is less. So here the subsequent stage, that is the next stage, offers very little resistance. It offers a very little resistance, and then the effective load, okay, is reduced. Now this drawback is overcome in case of a transformer coupled amplifier. You see here, we replace the RC, that is the resistance in the collector terminal, by a transformer coupling. So this primary winding will act as a RC, okay, and this tapping is done from the secondary of the transformer. And you see, if you trace the circuit, okay, uh, the signal is connected. So this point will act as a V2, and the voltage that is generated here will be connected to the base of the signal. Fine. Construction. It is a two-stage transformer coupled amplifier, and it makes use of NPN transistors. Fine. So construction wise, it makes use of NPN transistor. Okay, the first point. Then it is to be noted that the step-up transformer is connected here to AC signal source so that it increases the voltage level. So this is a step-up transformer. Check out the number of turns. For step-up transformer, the number of secondary turns, fine, is more as compared to the number of primary turns. So what it will do here is it will step up the signal. Fine, it will increase the voltage strength. Plus minus, here is the signal. Fine, and the remaining two transformers that you see in this circuit diagram, they are step down transformers. And why we make use of a step down transformers, so that we it can provide us the output impedance matching. Now for example, yesterday we were discussing, um, when we connect a resistor here, in case of a, I'll just draw this part of the circuitry, okay. Here, this is second stage, fine. Now in case of RC coupled amplifier, what we have, instead of this, I'm going to have a resistor here, and output is taken from this terminal, okay. A capacitor is connected here, and then we connect the RL across the VC terminal. This is how the output is taken, fine. Now see, there are certain drawbacks here. The first drawback is, when we talk about the multi-stage amplifiers, there are some 5 6 number of stages, fine. And the final stage, okay, the final stage will always drive the speaker, fine. If I'm talking about the audio amplification in public address system, the final stage will be a speaker. And yesterday I told you to check out the resistance of the speaker is 4 ohms to 8 ohms, fine. However, the bulky is the speaker, the resistance is always 4 or 8 ohms. Now if I if I disconnect this resistor, and if I try to connect a 4 ohm speaker here, what will happen? This resistance is so small that it will damage your speaker, because heavy amount of current is going to pass through it. Secondly, it will not guarantee me any impedance matching. Maximum power transfer takes place only when there is impedance matching. Now, if you look at this particular transformer, the number of primary turns are more and number of secondary turns are less. Okay. Now here, when I say RL, RL can be your load. It can be anything. Now, in this case, I can replace this resistor by the speaker notation, or I can write this as 4 ohms. So it is one and the same thing. So when I say this resistor is 4 ohms, it is kind of a load. And what is that load? A speaker. Okay. Now, a maximum transfer of power will take place only when the resistance offered by this is secondary, and here this is primary number of turns. This secondary should provide me a 4 ohms of resistance. This 4 ohms, if it matches with the 4 ohms of the speaker, then we say a maximum power transfer is going to take place. Okay. But then, as I said, I cannot simply have 4 ohms here directly. Why? Because of the constraint of current. Fine, this has got some functions to perform. So the number of turns are chosen in a such a way that the resistance of this, okay, maybe say in this case it is depending upon the length of this wire coil, I will get a resistance of say 1 kilo ohms, fine. And then I step down it to a resistance of 4 ohms. So it's very, like if you are having a transformer, okay, transformer has 2 wires for the input and 2 wires for the output, fine. And most of the time we make use of a step down transformer, fine. Now if you are given this type of a transformer with 2 wires as the input and 2 wires as the output, then you simply cannot connect it anyhow, fine. The input side will go to the plug, fine, here 3-pin point. But then how do I identify which is in primary and which is secondary? If I connect in a random fashion, the chances are that your this will be damaged, the transformer. So the simplest test is, okay, if no labeling or no specification is done, typically they just mark a arrow here denoting this as the primary, fine. Otherwise, if this arrow is missing, a sticker is missing, then you have to just take a multimeter and check out the resistance of these 2 wires and resistance of these 2 wires, okay. Whichever is offering high resistance, okay, is primary, and whichever is offering less resistance is secondary. Now you know that the resistance is rho L by A. So rho is the resistivity constant, length and the area. More the length, more will be the resistance. So in simple words, here the number of turns are more. That means the resistance offered will be high. Here, purposely I'm taking less number of turns. That means the resistance offered will be less. So depending, so if my load is 4 ohms, I have to select a transformer in such a way that the secondary is 4 ohms and the primary resistance is what is decided by your design. Now, why do we require this resistance in first place? Fine. It has to limit the current. All those things are fine. What if I don't connect the resistor? See, if I don't connect the resistor at all, if I don't connect the resistor here in this circuit, now if I try to draw the AC equivalent circuit, what you will observe, in case of AC equivalent circuit, all the DC voltages are to be connected to ground. So this wire will be flipped here. Okay. Now, what have you achieved here? You're just shorting the output to the ground. So we have to avoid this kind of situation. We should not avoid the AC output to ground. And for that reason, we have to have this resistor here, this resistance, fine, from AC point of view. But then the moment I connect a resistor here, it will create me certain problems. What are the problems? This is a resistor, fine. Here, this is the DC voltage, due to which if the circuit is properly completed, fine, from VCC to ground, current is bound to flow. Okay. I'm not applied any kind of AC signal here. I'm just talking about the DC voltages and DC currents. So due to this applied DC voltage, current is bound to flow. Okay. Due to which there will be a voltage drop across this resistor. Fine. This is a DC voltage drop. And this voltage drop is of, no interest to us. Fine. But then we have power given as I square R. If I is the DC current passing through this resistor and if R is the value of this particular resistor, then this much of a power is simply dissipated here in this resistor. Fine. So what we do is, instead of connecting a resistor, we connect a transformer. Fine. That's another reason why we have a transformer here. So hope this is clear. Now, the most important thing is the proper selection. The proper selection of this. You cannot randomly connect any kind of transformer. And why this proper selection is required? For the only reason that the maximum power transfer condition is has to be achieved. So that entire power that is developed in the collector load has to be passed on to the speaker. So you see the collector load is replaced by a primary winding of the coupling transformer. So here why it is called as coupling transformer? Because this element transformer acts as a coupling factor here. Fine. Meaning the output of this output is generated here. Okay. This output is coupled back to the input. There is slight loss in the signal, that is understood, but then the signal is tapped from the secondary. So the collector load, normally we have a resistor, isn't it? So the collector load here is replaced by primary winding of the coupling transformer, and the secondary winding of the coupling transformer replaces the wire between the voltage divider. Fine. So, and the bypass capacitor has to be used. Now these are the bypass capacitors at the bottom of the secondary winding to get an AC ground. So this is about the construction. Next, we'll try to understand the working of it. So when the input signal is applied to the base of the transistor through a step-up transformer, so here this is the step-up transformer. Here, this is the input signal. It is applied through step-up transformer. Check out the number of turns. Fine. So you have to practice drawing this notations. Fine. So it gets amplified and appears across the primary of the coupling transformer. The voltage developed across the primary is transferred to the input of the next stage, and so on. Now this is the second two-stage transformer coupled amplifier. Now let us try to understand the frequency response. And AV is what? V naught by Vi, and Vi is constant at 20 millivolts. So we just need to check out what is the V naught. How do we plot this is, say a serial number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Input is set to 20 millivolts. Frequency for the first reading, let us set it to 10 hertz, then 20 hertz, 30 hertz, 50 hertz, 70 hertz, 100 hertz, 200 hertz. So we have this kind of a table, and then we note down the output voltage. At 10 hertz, what is the output voltage? Just note it down. Okay. Then we take the ratio of V naught by Vi. Vi is constant at 20 millivolts. And then if I want to express in terms of dB, the gain A will be in terms of dB is 20 log of V naught by Vi. But this is, and I'm going to get some certain values here. So when I plot this column versus this, or otherwise this V naught by Vi, simple gain, then I'm going to get this kind of a frequency response. Okay. Now let us, try to understand this frequency response. By just looking at this particular frequency response, we can say the frequency response is very poor. Why? Because you see the gain is constant for a very small range of frequency. Fine. And the output voltage is equal to the collector current multiplied by the leakage reactances here. When I say the output voltage is nothing but it's equal to the collector current multiplied by the leakage reactance of the primary winding here. Now at low frequencies the primary reactance drops, so the gain is reduced, the concept that we have studied yesterday. And at high frequencies, see, there are two effects here, low frequency and high frequency. What is the effect at low frequencies? At low frequencies the primary reactance drops. Fine. And at high frequency, at low frequencies, meaning as good as the DC voltages, the primary reactance, meaning the real resistance offered by this primary section is less. If the resistance is less, there will be less voltage drop. V equals to I into R, isn't it? So this is the case for the low frequency. And at high frequencies, if we have studied at high frequencies, this transistor is basically a two junction device, NPN, and there are three layers. Okay, so at this junction there will be a capacitance because it is separated by different types of charge carriers. Again there will be a capacitance here. This capacitance is referred to as depletion capacitance or junction capacitance. So I can show them by the dotted line. Fine. This exists at all the points across all these junctions. Fine. Now you see here, at high frequencies the capacitor will act as a short. Okay, and see this common emitter. If this is a signal here, the signal at the collector is always out of phase that we have discussed. So at very high frequencies this will act as a short, okay, thereby connecting the signal which is out of phase back to the input. So we are feeding back the signal. Okay, so it is a feedback. And check out the polarities. The polarities are different, so it is a negative feedback. If it was the same polarity, it is called as positive feedback. Now in this case the polarities during the first half, this is positive, this is negative, so their polarities are different, so it's a negative. And since it is connected back to the input, it is a feedback, so it is the negative feedback. And whenever we have this kind of negative feedback, ultimately the signal strength of the input signal keeps on decreasing. If input itself is decreasing, then what will happen to the output? Output has no other option than to reduce. Fine. So these are the two effects which are observed in case of a transformer coupling. Fine. Then another point here is, you see there's a slight increase at one particular frequency. Okay, and whenever such things are observed, it is referred to as resonance. Okay, and for resonance, okay, we have to consider a capacitance and the inductance. Okay, now inductance is related to the coil. Fine. Whenever we have the coil will have certain inductance. Fine. The reactance of capacitor is given as 1/2 pi Fc reactance of the inductor is given as 2 pi FL. So they are inversely proportional with respect to frequency. If I connect the inductor, the DC signal can easily pass, but if I introduce the AC, it will result in the back EMF. Fine, because the frequency response. Now, you look here, inductor is represented by this coil, fine, and in between this is what is called as winding, okay, number of windings, okay. Now, in between the windings, there is capacitance created. Now, this is referred to as interwinding capacitance. Now, this interwinding capacitance, they give rise to the resonance. Fine. At some frequency it is generated Fs or Fr, and this makes the gain of the amplifier very high at this particular frequency. Okay, it follows that it will be disproportionate amplification of frequencies, because only for certain frequency range we are going to have very high gain, and the rest of the time the gain is less, and that too it is for limited amount of frequencies. Whereas if you consider the RC coupled amplifier, this was the frequency response. I could have accommodated more number of frequencies. Fine. So I'm going to get a stable gain. Now, actually, it is possible for us to design a transformer coupled amplifier so that we get constant gain. You know what? I hope you understood what is constant gain. Constant meaning fixed with respect to this axis, and what we mark on this axis, gain. So when I draw a straight line, it is a constant gain. We can actually have a constant gain amplifier. It all depends upon the transformers. Okay, so in that case the transformers are quite expensive, and secondly, we can achieve this kind of a response using the simple RC component in RC coupling. So why to invest in transformers which are costlier? Fine. So this was about the frequency response. Now let us try to understand the advantages. The main advantage of the transformer coupling over RC coupling is that all the DC voltage that is supplied by VCC is available at the collector due to absence of collector resistance. What is the meaning of this statement? In case of RC coupled, I'm just doing the final stage. The output is taken from the collector. This is the final stage, okay? RL. This is the V out. This is RC coupling. In case of transformer coupling, now try to understand the first point, advantages. In case of transformer coupling, entire DC voltage, entire DC voltage supplied by VCC is available at the collector. See here, in case of transformer winding, transformer coupling, we don't make use of a resistor here. But in case of RC coupling, you see a resistor here. Now, forget about the AC signal. When VCC is connected, okay, and if the circuit is properly connected, it completes the entire path. So whenever the path is completed, current will pass through this circuit. So this current is a DC current, IC. Fine. Now, here I'm having resistance RC. Circuit is properly connected, so current IC will pass through this RC, thereby having a voltage drop across this resistor, which will be IC into RC. Now this DC voltage drop, see the alphabets capital. Now this DC voltage drop is of no use to us. It is simply dissipated as in heat, that is I square RC. But when I replace this resistor by the windings, then there is no DC voltage going to drop across this uh, primary winding. In other words, the entire DC will be available at the collector terminal. Fine. So this is the major difference here. Simply a voltage see, finally what is the output voltage? If I want to write the expression here, output voltage VCE will be VCC minus IC into RC plus RE. So this term is simply getting wasted here, the voltage drop. If I don't connect this resistor, entire, even here, if I directly short this, entire signal will be available at this point. But then we have discussed what we have discussed. If I draw the AC equivalent circuit, and if I don't connect a resistor here, it will act as a short and no output. Fine. So I have to have a resistor here. But if I connect the resistor, there's a issue of simply losing out some kind of a power that can be avoided by connecting a transformer. Fine. As I said, like there's a coil, but then this coil will also take up some amount of voltage for itself. But that voltage is fairly very very small as compared to the voltage drop when I simply consider a resistor. Secondly, it provides excellent impedance matching. Excellent impedance matching. Impedance matching. So the last element in the circuit will be the speaker, and we have discussed it. The speaker has say a resistance of 4 ohms. Now if I can match these 4 ohms with the output of this transformer, then maximum power transfer is possible. So what we are going to do, we are going to select this transformer in such a way that this number of turns will give me 4 ohms, and this depending 1.2k number of turns. These 4 ohms now will be in parallel with the speaker 4 ohms. So maximum power transfer is possible. Fine. So this is most important for impedance matching. So by connecting a transformer in the final stage, we can avoid the undesirable effects of mismatch. So normally you see a multi-stage amplifier can have n number of stages theoretically, practically say 5 to 6 number of stages, but the n stage will always employ this kind of a setup because we have to drive the speaker. Let us talk about the disadvantages. Disadvantages, the very first disadvantage is that it has got a poor frequency response. Poor frequency response. It is very gain, it is constant for a small frequency range, and then it has a shoot. That means I'm going to get a very high gain at one typical frequency, and that typical frequency is decided by the inductance value, okay, and the interwinding capacitance. Frequency is equal to 1 upon 2 pi root of LC. So due to this L component and the interwinding capacitance, I'm going to have resonance at this particular frequency. Resonance meaning a high gain, and practically meaning what we expect is we should have a constant gain over a wide range, at least for a 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. But that is not the case with the transformer coupling. So it has got a very poor frequency response. So that's the reason why they are not used in the intermediate stages, but the transformer coupling is preferred for the last stage. Fine. Next, the disadvantage is the transformers, they are quite heavy, bulky in size, and also the cost of transformers. If I discuss about the cost, the capacitor will cost me around 2 rupees, the resistor 1 rupee, but the transformers will cost you, ordinary transformers will cost you around 35 rupees, and if you talk about the center tape transformers, roughly around 70 rupees for 500 milliamperes. Fine. So it is bulky and is also costly. And this is the reason because we have to use this at audio frequencies and it is made up of iron core. So that's another problem issue. The third is at radio frequencies, at radio frequencies, this phenomena is observed, meaning at high frequencies. Inductance and the intervening capacitance creates a lot of problem. So this type of resonance is created at the radio frequencies, lots of problems. Meaning at some particular frequency there will be no high volume, and for some other frequency the volume will be less. So it will be uneven kind of a amplification. And whenever we have these transformers, okay, in the circuit, they always they generate a hum noise in the output. It do have certain applications. And what are those applications? First, we have discussed about the drawbacks, the disadvantages. Due to these disadvantages, the transformer coupling or transformer coupled amplifiers are not used for amplifying the low frequency. So not suitable for low frequency, that is audio frequency. However, they are very much used for radio frequency about 20 kilohertz. Fine, wherein we require the gain at one particular frequency. And another point is we simply can, as I've said, like we have uh, stages for subsequent amplification of the signal. But then all this will be RC coupled amplifier. Only the final stage will be transformer coupled, because we have to go for the impedance matching of with that of the speaker. Fine. Now this is all about the transformer coupled amplifiers. Now we will just start with the next topic, that is the Darlington pair. So I hope this part is clear to everyone. So what you need to understand here, as far as couplings are concerned, we got three types of coupling: RC coupling, direct coupling, and transformer coupled amplifiers. What you need to know is the construction of transformer coupled amplifier. Then you should discuss about the operation of transformer coupled amplifier, then the frequency response, then the advantages, disadvantages, and the applications. So application, let me write here. It is mostly used for impedance matching. I hope you know what is impedance matching. Simple case is the speaker is offering me 4 ohms resistance. I have to match it with the subsequent load of 4 ohms. Then only maximum power is going to take place. Fine. Uh, and it is used for power amplifiers, for power amplification. This will discuss in the next class what is the difference between voltage amplifiers and the power amplifiers. The transformers are used in the power amplifiers, and it the converse of this statement, it is used in the application where maximum power transfer is needed. Maximum power transfer is needed. So these are the you know three applications for transformer coupled amplifier. Okay, now we'll start with the next topic, a very simple topic, that is the Darlington connection. Okay, this is the circuit layout for Darlington connection. You can see it is a two transistors connected back to back, but in a different fashion, different configuration. So there is base terminal, this is emitter terminal, and here this is collector terminal. Fine. So it is as good as you know uh, Q1 and Q2. This is base, collector, and this is emitter. Now, this is what is referred to as Darlington pair, and this is how it is mounted in the circuit. Now, practically speaking, we don't have to connect the two transistors back to back, but then this is fabricated as a common device. Okay, and the specification number is 2N999. So it comes as a single component, integrated circuit. So now why do we require this Darlington connection? We observed, like in case of RC coupled amplifiers. Did I draw here? In case of RC coupled amplifiers, the output of the first stage, say let us say this is the first stage. Okay, the output of the first stage is coupled to the input of the second stage. Fine. The output of the first stage is coupled via this capacitor as an input to the second stage, meaning the same signal which is generated here will be available at this point. Fine. Now the problem is this resistance, as I've said, is typically high, and since this base emitter, for active region, the base emitter has to be forward bias and collector base has to be reverse bias. So that's the reason why for NPN transistors, NPN, N is connected to positive VCC. Fine, so that collector is reverse bias and base emitter is forward biased. Only for these two condition it will be active region. Otherwise, there is saturation region, cutoff region, and inverted region, depending upon the polarity of P and N. Fine. Here we need to understand what is active region. In active region, base emitter is forward bias. So whenever something is forward bias, if I talk about the diode, okay, if it is forward bias, and a same diode if it is reverse bias. Forward bias, it will conduct the current. Reverse bias, it will not allow the current to pass. That means it is stopping the current. And how it's going to stop the current? By offering a very, very high resistance. So when it is reverse bias, the resistance is high. When it is forward bias, resistance is low, of the order of 10 to 30 ohms. Fine, the forward direction. In reverse, it will show you open circuit, a very high resistance offered by the reverse bias diode for the current to flow. That's the reason why we say diode is unidirectional. Fine. But for an amplification, in one of the lecture I will said, like, input impedance has to be high, output impedance has to be low. Fine. But now you see here, since the base emitter is forward bias meaning the resistance will be low. So we have to have some mechanism by which we can increase this resistance. So we have to increase the input resistance. Fine. Now let us investigate how we can do that. So that is possible if we go for this Darlington connection. Now you see here, this common collector circuit or in an emitter follower is having 100% negative feedback. Okay. And because of which we have largest input resistance. Fine. Now the Darlington connection over here can be considered as two cascaded emitter followers. Now these are emitter followers, meaning the collector is common. You see here, this is the collector terminal, this is the collector terminal, and both the collectors are made common. So this is common collector circuit, and for common collector circuit, okay, it is also referred to as emitter follower. What do you mean by emitter follower? Whatever signal we apply at the base, the same signal will be available at the emitter. Now what is the job? See, a common collector circuit, if this is input, I'm going to get the same output. Then why do we require such kind of a thing? That is for the impedance matching. This offers you the very, very high input impedance. And you know, when the signal is very small, the amount of class will discuss this, why input impedance has to be high. Only when your input impedance is high, you can, make sure that entire small signal reaches to the amplifier section. Fine. So when the input signal is small, we have to have this Darlington connection somewhere in that multi-stage blocks. Fine. So it will offer me a very high In fact, infinite emitter resistance. See here, this is the emitter. If I trace, there is no resistance connected here. That means this resistance is infinite. So when I look from here, the input impedance will be infinite, very, very high. Now, this biasing network for Q1 is not included, but we can discuss it later. It do require a biasing network that I have not shown here. See here, last point. Since there is no connection to the external circuitry from emitter of Q1, emitter of Q1 has no connection from outside. Okay, internally it is connected to the base of the next transistor. Okay, so what we can do is we can fabricate these two devices onto a single device, and then it is available in the market as Darlington pair with three leads. Same base, emitter, and collector. Just like a transistor has three terminals, even this has got three terminals, but inside it has two transistors. And what is the job of this? If I look the input impedance is very, very high. Why? Because this emitter resistance is infinity. I hope this point is clear. And the example is 2N999. If I want to buy this from the market, I have to specify this number. It has a voltage capability VC of 60 volts, and HFE, which typically voltage amplifiers has range up to 350. In this case, it is HFE is 7,000 to 70,000. That's a big value. And again, the collector current is 100 milliamperes, and typically all our voltage amplifiers, they work at 10 milliamperes. And most importantly, the power capacity of this Darlington pair is 500 milliwatts. Otherwise, in the laboratory when we work, we just have zero point 0.5 milliwatts. So this part, again, the H parameters are going to remain the same for this circuit that what we had discussed previously. Fine. So this is all about the Darlington connection.